Go Falcons.
Go Falcons indeed, folks. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. I'm Harper LeBel, along with Logan Landers, our producer and engineer, and our founder and co-host, Vincent Turner. Guys, Go Falcons seems to be something that they have not been able to do lately. But before we get into last week's game against Minnesota, let us begin by sharing some bad news where we've learned that Hall of Famer and former Viking Randy Moss has had the worst of news medically. He's going to be battling liver cancer right now. I know that earlier in the week there were reports that ESPN was saying that he was going to be stepping down from his duties at the network, and we didn't know why, but it has come out that this is not good news. So we wish our certainly the best for him. But my prayer in the name of Jesus is that Randy is healed from this and that he can get back to the full functionality of his life. We wish him well in his recovery. But first and foremost, guys, is there anybody that you can think of that made a difference the way that he did on the outside receiver spot, where even guys, the best in the league, and Dion would say this sitting down with Dan Patrick, goes, man, I don't care who you are. If you got to go against Randy Moss, your coaches are pulling their hair out. They're getting gray hair. They don't know how to stop him. And as a player, what are you going to do to slow this guy down? First impressions, Vincent, we'll start with you about Randy Moss.
He went to Florida State as I believe freshman, got kicked off the team, is well documented. Then he goes to Marshall and just puts Marshall at another level as a program in his 2 years there. But my greatest memory of him was a preseason game. Atlanta Falcons playing the Minnesota Vikings. D'Angelo Hall had him in man coverage. And he flies by D'Angelo Hall. And you know D'Angelo Hall could really run. He was a legitimate 4-3 guy. And all I remember, I don't remember who was at the quarterback, because it's a preseason game. He throws his hands up like that. Throw as far as you can go.
Yep.
And man, he just took off from D'Angelo Hall. And remember, D'Angelo Hall could run. And he caught that thing in stride and just walked away from D'Angelo Hall. To me, he was the first legitimate big receiver at 6'4", 6'5" that had 4'3", 4'2" speed. He wasn't a guy that went over the middle, but the way he impacted the game was on that deep ball. And then his first game, his game during his rookie season on Thanksgiving Day against the Dallas Cowboys, and how he lit them up. And then when he got with the New England Patriots, and how Tom Brady broke every passing record that year, and they almost went undefeated in the league. My hearts go out to his family, man. I'm praying for you, Randy Moss, and your family, man. It's a very serious matter. Back to you, Hart.
Yeah, his ability it was shocking. I still remember, Logan, we'll get to you in a second. You got your quarterback, you got Randy Moss, and you got Chris Carter, and they're all jawing back and forth at each other, all in an effort to get better. But man, you got to and there is a high volume, high stakes. They love each other, but boy, when it was game day and you put your helmet on, it was a different type of intensity. And at first I thought, man, these guys hate each other. They don't. They're just trying to win at such a high level that even the smallest of mistakes ends up being a incomplete pass instead of a first down, and a throwaway instead of a potential touchdown. They took it seriously, and I think Randy benefited from that type of banter. Especially, I played with Chris in Philadelphia, and Chris was dealing with the substance abuse stuff. He was great. Buddy Ryan used to say all he does is catch touchdowns. And who has a problem with that? Who would have a problem with that? But he ends up leaving Philadelphia, and he goes and he has a Hall of Fame career. And Chris got serious about it, and he knew he had something special there in Minnesota. So for obvious reasons, we're not mourning the loss of Randy, other than he may not be on the air for a little while. But we want to celebrate him and wish him well. Logan, your thoughts about Randy Moss and the player himself, who was so impressive on Sundays?
Yeah, I mean, man, when I was growing up, Randy Moss was like the guy, right? Because I was growing up in the early 2000s when he was doing his thing, and he coined the term on many a playgrounds of "I'm going to moss you, I'm going to jump over you, I'm going to catch this ball, and I'm going to look good doing it too." But man, just an absolute just freak of nature when his athleticism, his speed, how he can go after any ball that was near him, right? So just God on the field, he's just such a talented player, like you guys have highlighted. But yeah, I mean, just well wishes to him, to his family during this troubling time, and hopefully for a speedy recovery for Randy, so we can get him back on the airwaves.
Yep, and a great career in Minnesota. And so the bad news, obviously, is that he's going to be fighting cancer. But the good news is so many wonderful things that he did in the memory of the Vikings. And speaking of bad news and Vikings, Falcons certainly had that. Vincent, do I start with you about, hey, we're tied at 21 at the end of the third quarter, and next thing you know, just the wheels fall off. Kudos to Minnesota. They had a great game. Sam Darnold broke a personal record for yards and touchdowns. And my goodness, what an amazing offensive line to protect him. Group of receivers, tight ends, running backs, everything seemed to work for the Vikings' favor. They have not scored that many points since their new coach has been there. So that to me bothers me. I'm the guy that gets mad because I'm a Dodger fan when Hank Aaron hits his 715th home run against my team. I wanted him to do it against Cincinnati or against Houston or San Diego. I didn't want him to do it against me. I don't want other teams having records broken when my team is on the field. Your thoughts about what happened there in Minnesota?
Competitive fourth quarter, the wheels came off defensively. I'm not one to really bash any coach, any player. I always take the out. If I can't say nothing good about you, I don't want to comment. Right now, I'm looking at the Falcons, and I just can't believe they've lost 4 in a row. That is really amazing to me. 1 week it's been the offense. Next week it's been the defense. Next week it's been Kyle Pitts. He's not running routes. Kirk Cousins, his arm is shot. But when you look at overall, and granted, I have never played at a high level. I'm just a guy that's trying to have a podcast with 2 very talented gentlemen. But to me, everything comes back to the coaching staff. And when I look at the Falcons and where they at now, you in a very, I want to say, save the season mode. And something has to happen, whether it's offense, defense. But to me, you even said this to me, Hop, and I respect you because you played 11 years in the league, brother. You've seen it, you've done it, you've been on winning teams, you've been on losing teams. And I'm just asking. Remember today, Vincent Turner from the 901 is asking today. When your quarterback hasn't played for a period of time, do you think it's time to make a change? Simply because what I've seen for Kirk Cousins, it is not so much of him not making a play, but he just doesn't seem healthy in the pocket. He doesn't seem like he's been healthy all year. And being able to roll out and make passes and the bootlegs. And that's why you got Michael Penix over there. That's why you drafted him number 8. And you even said this, Hop, before the season, based on what happened last year with Desmond Ridder, you said that you told me you thought Arthur Blank was not going to have to worry about the quarterback position. Well, right now, to me, your quarterback has not played well over the last few weeks. Last week, he had 4 interceptions against the Chargers, which eventually was contributing to the loss. I'm looking at Michael Penix. He's a rookie. He's a mature guy. He's 25 years old. He's played big-time football at the next level. Do you make a change for the energy of the team? Because right now, you got to get a win, man. You fell out of first place. And you got the Raiders coming up on Monday night against Desmond Ridder as the starting quarterback. And if you don't think he's going to be motivated, then I don't know. But just to go with Kirk Cousins, I think you just need to mix it up a little bit and see what you got with Michael Penix. Because it doesn't seem like the Falcons might not win another game on their schedule based where they're going. And that's what's bothered me the most. You got two safeties that you signed in the offseason. They're supposed to be Pro Bowl players. One of them played in the Super Bowl, and Jesse Bates. You signed a defensive end who's supposed to be a sack artist, and Matthew Judan. I mean, and you got allegedly you got all this offensive talent on the offensive side of the ball. Something's not right with this picture. To you, Harper.
Well, you got a lot of issues, don't you? You mentioned the pass rush, edge rusher, the secondary. You talked about the quarterback. Maybe we make a change there. That's just in a 3-minute window. And I agree with you. There's a lot of problems. And Logan, if you don't mind, real quick, before I get to your initial comments, here's what I said during the offseason. I said at the end of last year's New Orleans Saints loss, where they scored on what should have been a kneel down at the end of the game, I put it this way. Your owner said, we were without a quarterback, and I never want that to happen again. I never want our team to be without a leader, without somebody who's going to be able to take them to a victory. We are so ill-prepared at that one position. Let's never let that happen again. So we spent the money to get Kirk Cousins, and we made a draft pick in the number 1 selection slot that surprised everybody in the league. However, my opinion was the reason they did that is because they had the blessing of the owner to make sure that that was never going to be a problem again. Now, when you have 4 games now, you have 8 interceptions and no touchdowns to match it in those 4 games, yeah, of course there's a problem. Do you switch a guy? I'm open for it. I just don't know how the locker room react. And I know that that's a very fragile situation in some locker rooms. But you know what? A leader that does what it takes to win. And so, yes, coaching. Yes, quarterback position. Yes, offensive line. Everyone needs to play better. So that's the reason that I said what I did. And I want to make sure that our audience is very clear on that. That's my opinion about what happened during the offseason, that Arthur Blank said, that is what we've got to fix. And we did. We have other problems, but we're going to not make our inability to put a quarterback on the field is not going to be one of our problems in the future. Fair enough. All right. So, Logan, let me have your initial thoughts. You go into Minnesota, you're tied in the third quarter at 21, and then what do you do from here?
I mean, like y'all said, it just all fell apart at once. It was just a mix of turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, you name it. Atlanta gave that game away. Like you said, they were tied going into the fourth, so they had an even chance of winning said game. And then Minnesota just put the hurt on. I mean, Sam Darnold has surprised, I believe, everyone in the NFL this year with how well he's played. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I want to highlight also, talking about great receivers, if you can outperform Justin Jefferson, you're doing something right. Jordan Addison had a coming out party.
Yeah, he did.
He was electric. 8 catches, $133, and 3 touchdowns. That Atlanta secondary that you mentioned, Vincent, where, with Terrell and with Jesse Bates and everyone else, they couldn't stop him. It's a mix of a lot of things. It's the defense has not been as good as we all thought it would be. It's the offense with Kirk Cousins. In the last 4 weeks, he doesn't have a touchdown, but he's got 8 picks. He hasn't thrown a touchdown since November 3rd. And we're paying Kirk how much money? And I'll say this to everyone saying we need to pull the plug and put Michael Penix in. I mean, you could throw me in the same box, Harper, of the guys who thought, well, what the heck are the Falcons doing drafting a quarterback at number 8 overall? We ain't looking so crazy now, are we? Now we're saying, okay, this could be an actual solution here. Personally, I would keep Kirk for this game because it's against the Raiders, who are statistically one of the worst teams in the league across a lot of categories. They're playing their third-string quarterback, and it's funny how it works, guys. It's Desmond Ridder. He'll be the starter going against his old team. If Kirk can't win this game against the Falcons' former quarterback, which everyone drove out of town with pitchforks, I don't know if you can come back this season. This season, personally, just because it's a very, very winnable game And it's a great way to snap a streak. But man, I felt, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle against the Minnesota Vikings, but man, that just left a sour taste in my mouth at the end of that one. Because, like I said, we were tied going into the fourth, and we could have put the game to rest, but we didn't. We just we let it slip away.
Yeah. Vincent, we rushed for 158 yards. We had 2 touchdowns on the ground. We threw for 344 yards. We scored 21 points, but obviously that wasn't anywhere close to being enough. You mentioned the defense a little bit earlier. I know you're wanting to replace Cousins with Penix, but even Michael Penix, is he capable of scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter on the road? There are some other things that we need to fix as well, but in terms of the debacle of that one quarter, is that a summary of what's gone on for the entire season, or is that just the one game on top of maybe 1 or 2 others in this season that you just want to burn the tape, get rid of? Now we just got to get back and focus. We still have a chance to win the division, but I'll be honest with both of you guys. If you don't win the division, you're not getting the playoffs. Your record is not going to be good enough. There are too many teams that already have 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins in Minnesota that are going to go in the wild card. You got to win the division to get in.
I always look at situations differently than a lot of people, but I always try to be true to myself. Of course, we know the Falcons, they don't win the division, they're not getting in. Right now, I think the biggest point is that you got to win a game. It don't matter if you rush for 158 yards. It don't matter if you gave up 3 touchdowns. Right now, you got to figure out to get a victory on the board. You still in this thing as far as getting to the tournament. And if you look over the course of the facts, yes, Kirk Cousins, he threw for 344 yards, but I think he threw a critical pick in that game. Yes, the score was tied 21-21. But I learned something a long time ago. When your football team is not playing together well at one time, and they have on the defense playing bad this week, the offense playing bad this week, your quarterback is inconsistent, it's something going on during a week that you're not getting over to your players, and it goes back to coaching, man. It goes back to energy. It goes back to a lot of things, in my opinion. And the facts are, you lost 4 in a row. The facts are, you were 6-3. And a couple of weeks ago, I was saying maybe I might want to try to figure out how I can get to New Orleans. I thought you was a clear cut to win the division. Based on the fact Tampa had lost Chris Godwin for the season and Mike Evans was injured.
And they had lost 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. But some way, somehow, I'm going to start thinking about the coaching. And I'll be honest with you, and no disrespect to Mr. Raheem Morris. He's an excellent, pretty good coordinator. But I keep having to go back when he was the coaching in Tampa. He had that one year that was 12-4, and then the rails fall off, and he gets fired in Tampa. That sticks in my mind. It's not that I'm throwing any eggs at Mr. Morris. It's not that I'm saying he's a bad coach. But right now, you're in a serious mode here. What happens if the Falcons don't win another game? What happens when we go to the offseason? I can tell you what's going to happen. Some heads going to roll. Ted Fontenot might not be the GM. Coaching staff going to have some changes. It's a lot of things right now that we got to look at. Is Raheem Morris the right guy? Everybody wanted to kill my man, Fred Smith's son, owner of FedEx, Arthur, said how bad a coach he was. But look where he at right now. The OC with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they 10-3. Are they a playoff team? Oh, let me change my mind. They might be a Super Bowl team as an offensive coordinator. And he turned down a North Carolina job because he said he loves it in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to sit here today, and I'm not trying to put everything and be these people an irrational fan and everybody need to be fired and this and that, calling on the other show. But now the realization is you got to get a win on Monday night. Your quarterback is not playing well. Even though he had 344 yards, but he threw a pick. But look at the other weeks. The man threw 4 picks against the Chargers that eventually cost y'all the game. He didn't play against New Orleans. Your field goal kicker's been inconsistent. The defense has been up and down. You know, Hop, in this league, everybody got to be playing well at the same time if you're talking about Super Bowl championships. The good teams do. The Pittsburghs, the Philadelphias, the Detroit Lions. And I'm always going to say this before I give it back to you, Hop. It's very critical that you draft well right now. Drafting is so critical to a team's future. Look at the Detroit Lions, Hop. What do you always say? Bring that statement you bring up, offensive line. I give it back to you.
First rounder, third rounder, first rounder. That's who the Detroit Lions have in their starting 5 offensive line. They invested in their offensive line, and they needed to because Matthew Stafford a few years ago was getting drilled, and they ended up trading him. They bring in another guy, Jared Goff, and after 2 or 3 years, they are a Super Bowl contender right now at 12-1. They are the best team in the NFC by far, and they could be the best team in the National Football League. So where's the problem? Get addressed because there are so many, Logan. What do you think? Because I don't know what to say. How do you fix this? I don't know. How do you fix that? I don't know that either. Because I'm watching this team and I'm going, how does he not throw a touchdown? Well, I'm not hating on Kurt, but it's a result league. How come my running backs can't get in the end zone then?
Yeah,
how come my offensive line is pushing guys in? How come my defense can't get a stop on third down? There's too many problems that I can't address. I'm just not smart enough to be able to do all that. But they exist in Flowery Branch. So what are you thinking?
I mean, the one word I would use for this team, I'm just confused. You know, I mean, for weeks, we came on here, guys. We said the Falcons, they don't have a pass rush, right? Dead last in the league in terms of getting to the quarterback. I mean, the last couple of weeks, they've looked great. They've been getting sacks. They've been getting pressure that we haven't seen 13, 14 weeks before.
They had 4 sacks.
Yeah. So you address that, right? You work on that. You get better on that. You say, okay, we're good on that end. Well, what about the offense? Okay. What about the offense?
Well, stop right there. Do you want 4 sacks or do you want to give up 42 points when you're normally giving up 25?
Well said.
I don't care about the sacks if we get the stops and we get the ball back.
No,
I'm sorry, I interrupt you. I'm just telling you.
No. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
and
I want this. Okay, I know you want that, but I want to win. Vincent just summed it up. We need to win. Period. Go ahead. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't found a way to win. And on paper, right, you can look at all the stats. You say, oh, look at this great offense we got. Multi-million-dollar quarterback, bunch of young guns in the backfield with Robinson. And then you got your receiving core, of course, with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Mooney, who you picked up, who's been really well this year. I will say that's been a bright spot. But how are we not top 5 in the league in terms of scoring, right? I mean, with all the intangibles you hear about this team and all the great, the leaping ability, the speed, whatever else you want to say, Kirk Cousins thrown for 300+ yards like it's nothing. It's just infuriating, guys, because this team, like we said, they were in a comfortable 6-3. Tampa was losing. We were rocking. We were looking great. And then it just all came crashing down. And it's just it's hard to put into words because what's the old adage for anyone who's lived in Atlanta for years? Same old Falcons. Same old Falcons. You look good, and then it starts to slowly drift away. All the good things start turning into negatives, and it's just a rinse and repeat. And it's just, I don't know what more to say about this team. It's just, we should not be in the position we're in with the amount of money we're paying all these guys that we've picked up in free agency or in trades that were supposed to make big splashes. I mean, they might for a game, but I mean, I need it for a whole season. And that's just what I've seen out of this team. It's just they can't do it on a week-to-week basis.
Real quick, 6-3, you mentioned that. And there were some people that were upset about that because we were one score and we had the ball late in the fourth quarter against Pittsburgh. We weren't able to win that game. And then we had, a 5-point loss to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Seattle beat us fair and square. But here's another thing. Vincent, I'll go with you next. During his time here in Atlanta, Dan Quinn had 3 occasions where the Falcons had 5-game losing streaks, and they finally put away with it. That's it. We lose this weekend in Las Vegas on Monday night. That'd be a 5-game losing streak in the very first year that Raheem Morris is in there. Again, we got to get a stop, don't we? We got to get the ball back. We got to put it in the end zone. We got to get better in the red zone. All that, blah, blah, blah. Punt, kick, everything. But we need to win.
Well, it's so critical right now. I mean, as I said before, there he is, Mr. Cornell Hardy has joined us. I don't try to make things very difficult here. Dan Quinn had the same sort of situation, but he finally turned it around. His second year, I think they had a 5-game losing streak. They turned it around. They ended up 8-8. Then the next year, they goes to the Super Bowl. But obviously, that's a whole different situation. But the thing that I look at right now, and I'm not going to make it hard for me, is that you need a win on Monday night. Teams that have, I want to say, guts, they got to make changes. Your quarterback hasn't played well. And you don't have nothing to lose. I'm looking at it because the season is coming off the rails. Whether you're playing bad defensively, whether you're playing bad offensively, but I know this. Your quarterback at this level has to be the energy of the team. And right now, Kirk Cousins is struggling. It's simple as that. My opinion, you need to make a change. Because if you don't, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to go on the offseason. And you're going to hear the same old Falcons adage. Somebody should be getting fired. We need a new GM. The blame going to go somewhere now. Whether it's with Kyle Pitts, whether it's with B. John Robinson, somebody's going to get the blame. But as an organization, when is it going to stop? When is it going to be put to an end? Right now, I'm looking at the Falcons. You still got your season. Your season is still, I want to say, winnable. You can still make it to the playoffs. Granted, Tampa Bay is hot now, but your most important position is not playing consistent. And to me personally, you got to make a move at the quarterback position because one thing Kirk Cousins is not able to do, he's not mobile in that type of offense. And Zach Robinson, where does he come from? He comes from the Rams where they rolling Matthew Stafford out. They rolling him out of the pocket. This is a guy that came out of that system, Zach Robinson. Jimmy Lake is a guy that's on the right now. He was a good head coach of Washington. Things didn't end up right. He's been in this league, but right now this is like on the job training for him as being a head man, being a D coordinator. But to me, I'm not going to make it long here today here on 100 Yards Football. Kirk Cousins, I think he can handle it. He's been a veteran in this league. That's how he got a job in Washington when Robert Griffin got injured. So he should understand, hey, I'm not playing well, man. And it's not even the money we talking about when we pay Kirk Cousins. That's irrelevant right now. Irrelevant is that you got to get a win. Relevant, you got to get back in the mix to make it in the playoffs. Relevant is that if you don't, then come this off season, there's going to be people who going to say people going to need their job looked at. Jobs need to be looked at. Me personally, I keep it very short and sweet. You change the quarterback position, you get some energy in the team. Your quarterback plays where everybody seemingly might buy into the mix. Yeah, it might cause some problems in the locker room, but when you look at it overall, man, you got to get a win on Monday night.
Cornell, we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being a part of it. Can you talk us off the ledge? We've been banging our heads here on the outside of the building, wondering whether or not there's going to be someone that opens a window for us. Please be the man that brings the good news that we need to get us back inside safe and happy that the Atlanta Falcons are going to turn everything around. Please be that man, Cornell.
I'm trying to be that man. I want to be that man. However, at the same time, it's still, I put it like this. In order for a hot air balloon to rise, you got to put fire up on it. Somebody need to put some fire up on somebody put some fire up on there. And it's simple as this, man. Kirk Cousins has 17 touchdowns right now. He's 11th in the league. He has thrown 3,396 passing yards, 3rd in the league. Guess what his quarterback rating is? 56.2. We got to make a move at the quarterback position. We understand that Kirk Cousins, simple as this, that he came from an Achilles injury. We look at him passing that ball. That ball has no kind of velocity to it. At the same time, we're making minimal mistakes on the defense. We're making minimal mistakes on the offense. We can see him talk about Kyle Pitts over and over again. He has showed us who he is with his organization. He is what, 6'6", 6'7". That ball was thrown in the end zone. Common sense. You played tight end. I played wide receiver. You attack the ball. You catch it at its highest point. He waiting for the ball to come to a basket catch. It was another time the ball was passed to him. He got alligator arms. Extend your hand out to catch the ball. You 6'6". I'm looking at Randy Moss back in the day, and I'm looking at Kyle Pitts. You're supposed to be the unicorn, but guess what? Somebody done took your horn off, man. And I'm saying just like this, simple as this. As much as I want Michael Penix to come in, Kirk Cousins, we paying you this money, man, and you got to step up. And as far as I'm concerned, if I was Raheem Morris, I would not make no pain. I would not make no change right now. Kirk Cousins, this is your last game, and you got to step up. You got to show us that you want to be here with the Atlanta Falcons organization. But not only that, too, I promise you, if I was the coach right now, Kirk Cousins, if I'm paying you $40 million, you're going to be my crash test dummy for the rest of the season. And what I mean by that, I'm riding on you, and you're going to have to step up. I'm not going to put Michael Penix in right now because the fact of the matter is, like Raheem Morris said, Kirk Cousins brought us here, and you're going to take us out of here for this year. I'm giving you too much money. It was a video that I seen a couple of days ago with Brett Favre and one of the sack leaders, Mark Gastineau. Many people don't know who Mark Gastineau is. Brett Favre was talking to Mark Gastineau, and Mark Gastineau said, "You cheated me. I want my sack back," because he laid down when Michael Strahan touched him for Michael Strahan to become the sack leader. And Mark Gastineau said, "I want my sack back." And the guy moved Brett Favre away from it. But at the same time, I looked at the messages and everything. It said, well, Mark Gastineau going through dementia, he going through this, but he remembers what happened. And if I was Arthur Blank, I would come with you can't do it. I know about the contract, but if I was Arthur Blank, I'd say, you know what, hey, Kirk Cousins, I want my money back, man. Because I want my money back. Because I done gave you all this money to win, to get into the playoffs, and look at what you're doing, man. But yet still, you want to huddle the guys up. You want to play the trap music. I'm going to tell you something, Kirk Cousins, if you're listening right now, I love you to death, man, but guess what? Your players are losing faith in you right now, man. And when you get to the point where your players lose faith in you, and you lose that locker room, man, it becomes a problem. I still say there's hope, because I always say the New York Giants were 8-8 when they won the Super Bowl. But this is a different time. This is a different time now, man. And somebody got to spark fire. If I was Kirk Cousins and any one of these players does not perform with the Atlanta Falcons organization, I would hate to go home. Because the fact of the matter is simple as this. When I played football, man, I would hate to see my mama. Because my mom would drill in me. Somebody at home, I'm encouraging somebody at home, somebody at the organization, somebody out in the street, somebody at Chili's, wherever these players hanging out at, somebody need to say something to them. I would hate to be a Falcons player right now. And I got a kid in school right now. And some other kids say, hey, man, your daddy sucks. It'll be a fight. So I can't give no hope right now, man. I really can't. You know what I'm saying? I really can't, but I you know what? I trust Raheem. I trust the organization. We're going to Las Vegas, and we're gonna handle business. But at the same time, too, it's like this: if the Falcons do not get into the playoffs, this is gonna be probably the this is gonna be probably I'm gonna make it one of the top 5 debacles that the organization has done in the history of the organization. Going back to the Super Bowl, going back to Eugene Robinson, that situation, going back to the Michael Vick situation, this would have to be top 3 to have the division, lose the division, and go back home and go fishing. I'm done. I'm done.
All right. Well, I'm still on the ledge, Carnell. I thought I was going to get to come inside, but we're still looking at all the problems, which that's what we got to do. A good general manager has to figure out what to do in the next steps, no matter what. If a player gets hurt, if he's injured, if he misses the bus, whatever happens, you always have to have that next step already taken care of well in advance. One of the things that Chuck Knox said my first year in the league when I was with the Seattle Seahawks, we were 0-2, and he goes, hey, Chuck had this belly, and he turned around. He'd always start every sentence with the word hey or see. See, this is what I'm telling you now. See, you got it, that's what he did. But he goes, winning cures everything. Now, it doesn't cure cancer, but it certainly helps when you're a winner to be able to find answers. And that's what we're looking for here. Guys, I'm going to start with you, Logan. Is there any answer that's easier than going against the worst team in the league from a record standpoint? We've got Monday Night Football, which you should get amped for that. We're going to Las Vegas. You should get amped for that. You're going against a team that's 2-11. What could you do to make it any easier? Can I hand you on a platter an easier schedule, turn things around than the Las Vegas Raiders right now? And by the way, give me one more second. They not only don't have their first-string quarterback, who's gone with a broken collarbone, their second-string quarterback is out. He's got a bruise right now. His left knee is not going to practice this week. And you're going against a guy that, as you mentioned, with pitchforks, we ended up kicking out of town last year, Desmond Ridder. What could make the plot any easier for the Falcons?
I mean, this game couldn't have come at a better time, honestly. Look, the Raiders are the worst team in football. They have their third-string quarterback playing, for God's sake. Their running game is nothing to speak of. So all you have to do, for the most part, is watch out for Desmond Ridder, because he's going to want his revenge game, and just put half your team on Brock Bowers. I mean, that's the golden goose right there in Vegas. I mean, beside him on offense, there's really nothing. Yeah. He is their best player far and away, and he's looked great so far his rookie year. For defense, they've got a couple big hitters, obviously. Max Crosby, who's electric. He's done really well. Robert Spillane's done pretty good this season. They're able to get to the quarterback as a team. They've got 29 sacks. They've got 7 picks. So, I mean, they do have a little bit of motion in defense in terms of better players. I know Christian Wilkinson, the guy who they picked up this offseason from Miami, he's been banged up. So that's hurt them this year for Vegas. But, yeah, if Atlanta don't win this game, I don't have any hope, to be honest. I don't got much hope in this team if they lose this game against the worst team in football, Monday Night Football. You have a $200 million quarterback or whatever going up against your former quarterback you cut loose for him. If you don't win this game, I don't know what else it is we can say other than we just throw our hands up for the next episode and just say, all right, on to the next one. So they have to win this game. If they don't win this game, I don't want to know what next week's show would look like.
Well, we'll be in midair on our way down from the ledge.
Yes.
If that does take place. But you're right. During the offseason, you trade him to Arizona. He can't make the club in Arizona, and now he's a pickup because of injuries. Cornell, your thoughts here. Could the Falcons go against – there's no opponent that's any worse than who they're going against this week. It should be so easy that it's a lock.
Yeah, it should be easy, but let's think about it like this. Antonio Pierce got that head coaching job because he coached them players up last year. And at the same time, those players are not performing at a high level, and we have injuries with the Los Angeles Raiders. I mean, the Las Vegas Raiders organization. But can Antonio Pierce coach his team up like he did last year? It's a possibility. Desmond Ritter, yeah, he's over there with the Raiders. He's over there with the Raiders organization. Understand this. The reason why they got Desmond Ritter is simple. Luke Getsy, who is the offensive coordinator, was the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields. Luke Getsy was Arthur Smith assistant in Tennessee Titans. So think about it like this. The reason why they got Desmond Ritter because he understands the variation of that same system that Arthur Smith tried to run in Tennessee. And he's over there with the Oakland Raiders. So therefore, Desmond Ritter may go out there and may perform. But somebody better cover Brock Bowers. He's having a great season right now. Who's going to cover him? Are we going to put a linebacker on him? Are we going to put a safety on him? Are we going to double up on him? Who's going to cover Brock Bowers? But at the same time, too, we have a chance to win this game. And Kirk Cousins is going to have to step up. He's going to have to perform. Kirk Cousins is going to have to handle his business and do what he got to do with his organization, with the team. So, yeah, I'm trusting that the Falcons will win. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I also think that it's going to be relied on the foot of Younghoe Koo. I think Koo going to handle the business for us. And we're going to win probably by a field goal. I hate to say it, but it is real talk. Falcons don't let me down, man. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm borderline. I'm like a backsliding preacher right now. I want to go back to the Eagle organization. I want to go back and put on my Eagle paraphernalia, but I'm trying not to do it, and I won't do it because I'm a diehard Falcons fan. But it hurt, man. It hurts. It really hurts.
Yeah, you may end up meeting the preacher at the end of the bar there because
right.
he can't take it much longer like this. Vincent, do we put 4 guys on Brock Bowers, or do you just double him up? You got a linebacker on the inside, you got a safety on the outside, and you force Desmond Ritter to try to throw a ball to one of my guys, like what he used to do when he was playing with the Falcons. He'd throw it to somebody in another jersey. What are your thoughts here? Game plan for Las Vegas?
You take Brock Bowers out of the game. He's the best player for the Raiders right now offensively, but I'm not gonna say and make any long statement again. I'm gonna say this: the coaching staff right now to me is under a lot of scrutiny. You lost 4 games, man. Bottom line. Number 2, your GM is under scrutiny. I'm not gonna rip Kyle Pitts. Not gonna be like you, Cornell, because I'm gonna say this. I know he's played inconsistent. A lot of people don't deserve his service much, but I'd like to see if he had Michael Penix under the center. And I know this, and me and being my 64 years, it don't matter how much you paying a quarterback money. It don't matter how much the quarterback has done in the past. Kirk Cousins hasn't seen healthy to me this year. And as I said before, you bring up a Zach Robinson that has an offense that you got to be able to roll out. And Kirk Cousins, like it or not, y'all lost 4 straight games, man. You going to tell me that you going to let him take you to the end and say y'all don't win another game? You're going to be like all these other Falcon fans. You're going to be questioning Raheem and the organization. So now I'm looking at the chips coming to the table right now. Your quarterback not playing well. So, you put Michael Penix in there, what you got to lose? Because, man, this is the fact. And I'm going to leave you with this. Y'all were 6-3. I was talking about y'all being in the Super Bowl. Y'all have lost 4 games. Y'all had a 3-game lead. And your quarterback, we could talk about Kyle Pitts. We could talk about the defense. But the facts are your quarterback has not played well. And I don't care. When I hear Raheem Morris say, well, we're going to ride Kirk to the end, I'm going to say this. Y'all better win on Monday night, and you better win the rest of your games, because if you don't, you're not going to win the division, because I don't see Tampa losing another game. And as I said earlier on our NFL segment, Baker Mayfield should get MVP votes. It's not hard for me to Falcon Nation. Your quarterback has played poorly in the last 4 games of the season. Y'all in blue. This is what you got to understand. This is not it's very easy. We ain't shooting marbles here. Y'all have lost a 3-game lead. A 3-game lead with the quarterback a week before threw 4 interceptions that cost you a game against the Chargers, whether Kyle Pitts ran around or whatever. He has played horribly. And I don't care about his money. I want to win. Because if you don't, you know what? Cornell and Falcon Nation, y'all go off the rails, say y'all don't win another game, you end up 6-11. That's what I'm talking about. I don't have to say more. Mike has dropped. Back to you, Harper LeBel.
All right. Back on the ledge again. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to look at Brock Bowers' stats. 87 catches, 933 yards. He only has 4 touchdowns, but he's averaging 10.7. Definitely a weapon that needs to be slowed down. I think we all agree on that. In terms of the running game, Alexander Mattison. Who? Alexander Mattison with 320 yards. 3 in the whole season, guys. 3 touchdowns. As a team, they've only rushed for 1,028 yards. Certainly, defensively, we can make some changes and make those numbers be magnified in our favor and be able to take advantage. They shouldn't be able to score a point against us, should they? Cornell, we'll start with you.
We're pretty solidified. We're pretty good at stopping the run. We still have challenges on the passing offense, stopping the passing. I think that Desmond Ridder's not going to have a great game. I think we will stop the run, so therefore they're going to figure out something they got to do to put points on us. That's why I say it's going to be a low-scoring game. The main thing is I think that if we execute and we don't make mental mistakes and don't have many yards on turnovers, because that would kill us last week, turnover ratio as well. And if Kirk Cousins perform at the high level that he performed when he passed for almost close to over 500 yards a couple of weeks ago, then we can win the game. Everybody's got to be on top of their game, man. Everybody got to be execute. And I would like to see some more play action. Zach Robinson. I would like to see more play action because that's where Kirk Cousins has been successful. We know that Kirk Cousins had the Achilles injury, but at the same time, too, man, get him out of that pistol formation, let him run that play action. That's what he has been successful at, running play action. Establish the run with Algier and also with Bijan Robinson, and let's get the play action running, let's get the play action going, and let's show them that we want to be here and we want to be in the playoffs. Enough said, because I don't want to do this.
Vincent and Logan, in that order, 18 points a game. That's what the Las Vegas Raiders get offensively. They can't run the ball. They're 32nd in the league. They have 79 yards per game. It should be a much easier thing for us to be able, especially with our run stoppers, with Grady and Omanyata. There's some ways that we can make this into a 1-2-3 and out situation quite often. Is that something that you can see the Falcons coming away with, especially after that fourth quarter against Minnesota last week? Vincent, let's go with you first.
I'm going to piggyback off what Cornell said. This is a game that the Falcons should have success in the passing game. It's not more me to say. They're a better team. They're going to be probably favored. Cornell said defensively they're good against the run. You got Desmond Ridder at the quarterback position. The Falcons should have their way on Monday night. This should be a win. But I'm not going to get off the fact that your quarterback has not played well. And when you look at it, the Falcons, this is do or die. This is a very critical football game, not just from the season, but for the organization. Y'all went out here, Ted Fontenot, what is this, year 4 as a GM? Raheem Morris saying all the right things and preseason. You get off to a good start. You 6-3. We talking about maybe we talking about winning one playoff game, hosting a playoff game, and winning one. And look where you're at now. Of course, you should be ready to go on Monday night. But my final words is this. I've seen the Falcons play every game this year. And all I can get out of my memory is this. We talking about how much they're struggling in the passing game. Yes, Kirk Cousins went up and down. He's had a 500-yard game, but then he's came back and had a 4-interception game. But all I can think about is the young man sitting over there that y'all took in the first round, 8th overall, when he was in that Caleb DeBoer offense at Washington. Roma Doozy, Jalen McMullen, Jalen Polk. All of them are doing pretty good in the National Football League. And Michael Penix was throwing that thing like a laser. And I'm a firm believer. If your quarterback is not playing well on any level and you losing games, you need to make a move at the position. But we said the Falcons are going to go with Kirk Cousins, and they should win the game on Monday night. Leave it at that. It's been a pleasure today. Back to you, Mr. Harper LeBel.
Logan, defensively speaking, we're going against a weaker offense that the Raiders have. You got to slow down Brock Bowers. You mentioned that earlier, but what about the run game? How do we stop that?
I mean, honestly, just watch tape on what's been going on all season. Obviously, the Raiders' run offense is not there. You mentioned their leading rusher is Alexander Madison with 320 yards on 97 carries in 10 games played. So I wouldn't say you'd have to load up the box per se because, I mean, they're not getting any yards. But if you can stop the passing game, I'm confident they can stuff the run game. Because like Cornell said, like you said, Vince, they have a good – when it's clicking, they have a good running defense. Passing offense, though, room to work on. Got Brock Bowers. That's your number one target right there. Guard him like your life depends on it. They also have some other good players. Jacoby Myers, he can get a good catch here and there. And then it's just kind of a who's next. I mean, they have a bunch of other receivers, but they don't have a whole lot of big stats on them. But, I mean, also just, look at the quarterback play. They've been inconsistent all year. So, like, the Raiders haven't had much of a rhythm either all season long. You can see that by their record. So, defensively, yeah, I'm confident they can stuff the run. Just guard up on Brock Bowers. And to me, also, I'm more so worried about the offense. I'm more so worried about how many points can we score. Are we going to be able to score 40 points? Or are we really going to put up 15? Realistically, we should be putting up 40 against this team because they have a middle of the road defense, right? They're not top tier, but they're not in the bottom for a lot of categories. So they have some good players. But with how everyone talks about this team, how their offense is set up, we should be putting points up in bunches. We shouldn't win this by a field goal, like Cornell said. We should be winning by many field goals. We should be up by at least double digits, I feel, against a team who is 2-11 on the season. And this is a team that was in first place many weeks ago and are now on the outside looking in. So hopefully, we said last week, the way the Falcons maybe get back on track, maybe go relax, go enjoy a nice day at the pool or something, go watch a movie. I need you back in the film room, boys. It didn't work. I need you to go back and look at the tape. I'm sorry, but we got to get something going here. We're at the nitty gritty. This should be a no-brainer slam dunk win for the Falcons. But we said that many weeks ago against other teams, and well, that didn't happen. So it's Monday Night Football. A lot more eyes are going to be on you. The public is going to be on you. It's not just going to be Atlanta fans. So you got to look good. I think the Falcons will win this week. I hope they win this week. And hopefully we have better motivations and we're a lot more chipper next week.
All right, I'm going to give you a 30-second window, and you may go 45. But if let's say Joe Buck is calling the game with Troy, and I have you in the booth with me, and I've already asked Troy, what's compelling about this game? What's going to be exciting for our fans that are watching this game to look forward to right before kickoff? Logan, I'm going to start with you. What do you have to say about a reason to watch this game? You got 30 seconds.
Well, the reason to watch this game is you get to watch former Atlanta Falcons quarterback Desmond Ridder play against his old team in a revenge matchup. The Raiders have some good defensive pieces, obviously, with Max Crosby. They also have some really good offensive talent with the young Brock Bowers of Georgia facing off against the Atlanta Falcons. For the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, can he fix his struggles? We will see on Monday night.
There you go. Well done. You did it in about 25. All right, Vincent, your turn. I've given you the microphone. I've asked you, okay, what's going to be a compelling portion of television and watching this game between the Falcons and the Raiders?
Plain and simple, it's do or die. Can the Atlanta Falcons turn their season around? Their playoff hopes are still in front of them. but this is the most important game of the year for the Atlanta Falcons and their organization.
Well done. Appreciate it. That was short and sweet. And Cornell, now it's your turn. You're on the Monday Night Football team, and let's say Al Michaels has just handed you the mic. We'll think of somebody else that might be in there besides the normal folks. But well, Cornell, your thoughts about what is compelling about tonight's ball game between the Falcons and the host Las Vegas Raiders?
Kirk Cousins comes to Las Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders. Unfortunately, let's see if Kirk Cousins can make a comeback from what he had did this past Sunday. And also, too, think about this: a proven stat. Kirk Cousins is 4-10 on Monday Night Football. Can Kirk Cousins break even and be 5-10 on Monday Night Football? Also, let's think about this. Oh, there's Kirk Cousins right there. He's talking to the players. He has changed the soundtrack. He's not giving them trap lyrics. Kirk Cousins gave him a lyric from Bruce Springsteen. You can't start a fire without a spark. Oh, he's also playing Bon Jovi. You don't know the player. If he throws the ball. Can Kirk Cousins be successful against the Las Vegas Raiders? I think he do. I'm just more concerned about this 4-10 on Monday Night Football in his career. Can he, with a 56.6 passer rating? Let's see what happens here on Monday Night Football. I am so Buck.
Well, guys, it's been a little bit of pain, a little bit of agony, and a little bit of fun to be able to put this show together. But 4-game losing streak calls for, what is the old expression? Desperate times call for desperate measures. And wouldn't be surprised, Vincent, if things aren't going well and we're trailing by 2 touchdowns, that they don't go to the bench. And they ask for the lefty to come in from the bullpen. We'll see if they make that call. Hopefully, Kurt has a wonderful rebound game, and the Falcons get to 7-7, place that they absolutely have to be. And then 3 games remaining for them against the Giants. That's a winnable game. They got to go to Washington, and then Carolina, another winnable game. We'll see how that turns out. But final thoughts here, very quickly. Cornell, we'll start with you.
Man, the only thing I got to say is, man, the Atlanta Falcons got to win. It's a win-win situation. Think about it like this, man. They play the AFC West teams. They're technically right now, they are 0-3. This is the last AFC West team that we got to play, which is the Raiders, and they could possibly go 0-4. Let's go ahead. We don't want the sweep. We don't want this to be known as a fact that we're 0-4 against the AFC West this year. So Kirk Cousins, just step it up, man. Like I said, when you pass that ball, just think about that soundtrack, living on the prep. When you throw it, just pray to God that they catch that ball, man.
Vincent, we don't want to be swept. We need to get the brooms and break them in half to be at least 1-3. Your thoughts here before we part and say goodbye to our guests.
Huge football game on Monday night. Season is still in the balance. You lose this game, then I'm looking at you not winning another game for the rest of the year. And then it's going to be a very enjoyable offseason because it's going to be a word called drama in the Atlanta Falcons over there in Flowery Branch. Thank you, Mr. LeBel.
All right, Logan, final thoughts, parting thoughts here for this week's show.
It's go time. It's go time. It's been a rough few weeks. We're on top of the world. We're feeling great. And here we are at about an hour later after getting a lot off our chest. And it's we got to get back on track. This is the game to do so. Like you said, there's a few games left in the season. Relatively, you should come out of that above 500 in those matchups, and it starts here. So there's still some chances. It's going to be you. You're going to be battling against Tampa Bay the rest of the way. And if you're Atlanta, just get it done. That's all you got to do. I ain't got to say no more. Just get it done.
Well, Legion Field will not be full. Falcons don't travel very well, and there's not going to be a whole lot of folks in Vegas that are going to be supporting a team that's only won 2 games. Yeah. So there are going to be a lot of bench shots, but maybe not very many showing the audience and the upper deck especially. But Falcons definitely need to get a win. They need to get to 7-7. They've got a lot of work to do to catch Tampa. They didn't get the work done that they needed to, and Tampa did. So we've been leapfrogged, and it'll be a very interesting scenario here over the next couple of days with practice, building back up your ability to get on the field and try to make some lemonade out of some lemons. But for And Cornell, thank you for tuning in. We weren't sure if you were going to be able to make the show. I know you had some things going on at the store. Any upcoming sales here for the holidays that you can mention?
Well, basically, right now we're doing buy one get one 50% off like items. That means like you buy a pair of shoes, you get the other pair of shoes 50% off. Probably next weekend, we're probably going to do buy one suit get the other suit free. Otherwise than that, we got a lot of other things going on too, as well as we got our restaurants, Boho Taco and Red Pepper Taqueria. We got specials going on at those restaurants as well. So check them out as well, man. That's all we got going on right now with D&K Sioux City, Red Pepper Taqueria, and Boho Taco.
There we go. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Do you have any red and white suits where we can make Vincent look like Santa Claus just in time for Christmas Eve?
Yeah, I got some red and white
Ho,
suits.
ho,
Right
ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
candy cane. I got them candy cane ready.
All right. We're good.
There we go. We love it. For D&K Suit City, go look them up online and go see them in person, and you will look fantastic. And we thank you, Cornell, for being a part of the show. We appreciate it. For Logan Landers, our producer and engineer, and for Vincent Turner, our host and founder, we want to say thank you for tuning in to a very lively, confused look that we have on Atlanta Falcons Weekly Report. We just call it like we see it, and Falcons need to turn things around. So for the entire cast, I'm Harper LeBel. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. 100 yards of football with another episode to go. Let's hope the Falcons are able to do it on Monday night. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day.